Kevin Costner almost didn't take the role because he was tired from Waterworld. He said we just taped the longest movie in history.
Was a huge production.
It was
What?
like
He'd done
160 days.
Yeah.
You know,
Can we review that next?
Well, I'd love to review
And
it.
by being tired from Waterworld, he means being single and being Kevin Costner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear that.
Where are all the
like,
guild
I
men
kinda
today?
feel like getting out in the, but evidently him and Don Johnson had a pretty good time filming this movie.
All right, everybody, we got another sports movie review for you all today. It's Tin Cup. We got Kyle Long, Macon, Chris, Cowboy Reed, myself. Very excited to talk about this movie. Who wants to go first? What'd you think upon rewatching this movie again for this show?
It wasn't a rewatch for me. This is the first time
Oh,
I'd
wow.
seen Tin Cup. Yeah. I'd seen the most famous scene
Virginity.
here and there. I thought it was a delightful movie that made virtually no sense. Moral being, you know, in love and in sports, don't play it safe.
And I think more of like I can relate to this movie because there's so much in life that's passed you by, but there's still so much potentially ahead of you if you can just focus your talents and your character. And Kevin Costner just a struggle with his character the entire movie, like all the movies he's in seemingly, but he's my favorite. He did a great job. And what a
You love Kevin Costner?
I love
Like
Kevin
your favorite?
Costner. He is my favorite.
See, you know what's funny to me? Like,
Because I'm a baseball guy. I grew up watching him dominate in baseball movies,
Durham.
making batting practice look effortless. Even
Yeah.
when he goes visits major league teams, he's got a great swing, hits bombs.
Yeah.
Seems to be a cool guy.
He's a sportsman. He came to see the Rams
really
practice in London. Yeah, he was in London. He's a Rams fan.
like in a
Jeff
cool
Fisher.
outfit during practice.
He was cool as shit. You know, I thought his character was really cool. At one point in the movie, I had written down, is this, you know, I think it was about the riddle, about that point, which, by the way,
Dog.
I'll tell you something. You have told me that riddle on the show before
Yeah.
to fuck with me and make me look like a misogynist.
Yeah.
But I didn't get the riddle the second time. I rewound it 14, 15 times.
You didn't
Wow.
get it this. Wow.
Then brought my wife in.
Glad Renee came in. Rene
brought
Russo.
my wife in. She didn't get it. That's why I asked you to see if Kate would get it.
Got it.
But I had written down, this is Kevin Costner's smartest character. And then as the movie went on, I decided that Roy McAvoy is the coolest autistic character of all time in movies or TV.
Hold on. You think he was spectral?
Yes, dude. And it's okay to say because I Googled it. There's like lists of like, you know, from like mental health sites and stuff, like people, characters and leads in movies that may be on the spectrum. I think Tin Cup was on the
He's
spectrum.
got those headphones in while he's playing at different points.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, just like think about his decision making. Think about the face he made when Rene Russo was like, "You need to drive me home." He was like, go back and
Cannot
look
compute.
He was so smart, but could not get out of his own way. He was like a guy that needed to play the video game on hard.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, when you're playing a video game and you get careless because you're like,
Not challenged.
yeah, I got to win this way. You know, that was like the whole movie.
I'm going to play this Madden season and only run the ball.
Yeah, or just like, I'm fucking around playing a video game. Yeah, that's kind of what he was doing. I loved his character. I thought Kevin Costner was cool as hell in the movie. I thought he was my kind of guy.
He was a
Getting
romantic.
close.
The way he talked about golf was really, it was an enthralling scene. Every time he had an opportunity to explain some golf to Rene Russo, or you just watch him play, or his confidence, it was like, it's real. That's why I like Kevin Costner. It's believable. I almost believe that he could just take a 3-wood out of the rough and stripe it 250 and put it on the green.
I thought it was a great movie, dude. We did Varsity Blues already. Varsity Blues, I gave like a 7.2.
It's a different pace.
I give this movie like a high 7s.
Yeah.
nice.
You know, like there were so many great lines. Kevin Costner's character was awesome. I thought, you know, at times it was written a little bit like run of the mill.
Both Texas movies too, which was interesting. The landscape, the hellish landscape with the armadillo in the intro at the
Nasty little varmint.
strange. We've never seen those types of things around here. But the driving range kind of reminded me of the spot on 29.
It made me want to live
You know
in
what I'm talking
Texas.
about? Yeah. What's it
made me
called?
Highlands.
Highlands.
Yeah, it made me want to live in Texas and be a golf pro.
Yeah.
And like work at a driving range.
29. Go up
Wear-
there
wear
and
an A
pretend.
With
shirt.
Rene Russo.
Wear an A shirt, be
Yeah.
sweaty, drink beers.
Yeah, well, not just wear an A shirt. I loved, and like we're gonna do best outfits. Like Kevin Costner, his fits in this movie, like I want to adopt the.
He's
fit.
like Tommy Bahama.
Tommy Bahama, unbuttoned.
He made it look
either an
great.
A shirt or a dirty white T-shirt, some linen pants.
Pleated.
When Tommy Bahama puts out their spring and summer line, Kevin Costner from that movie is who their target audience is, but then they end up getting guys like me that can't fit into normal shirts.
Yeah, he makes it look cool.
Yeah.
I did not know that Rene Russo spelled her name Rene.
What'd you think? How you with 2 E's?
Well, 3 E's.
Three
yeah.
E's, you thought?
3 E's.
Total.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this movie came out in 1996. It did.
Great year.
It was #1 at the box office for 1 week.
Wow.
And then got topped by The Island of Dr. Moreau. It came out the same summer as Independence Day, which kind of like overwhelmed everyone.
I'm back.
I don't know about you all, or not Macon, but for me, this was a movie that I saw first on like TNT, and it was like a rewatch movie on cable.
Yeah. Like home from school sick and watching it. For us, Kevin Costner was kind of a deity in our house, so we watched a lot of Costner. Dad loved Costner.
Do you have a problem that he was the sports guy actor for all of these movies for several years?
No,
because evidently he's a good athlete.
Evidently, there's
he
not
did
many
a good
good
job.
athletes in Hollywood.
And Ron Shelton did, like a couple sports movies. White Man Can't Jump. He did Bull Durham, which was, a great Kevin Costner performance.
Yeah. He wrote and directed those, and then he also wrote Blue Chips, Cobb, The Great White Hype, Play It to the Bone, Bad Boys 2, which isn't a sports movie.
The Great White
and
Hype.
This old
Blue
movie
Chips.
called The Best
Outstanding.
of Times with Robin Williams. That's actually really
It's
good.
not
Pursuit of
explained.
D.B. Cooper.
It's not explained until late. I think we should explain it early that Tin Cup, he got the nickname from wearing a cup as a baseball catcher in high school.
But supposedly in real life, Shelton came up with it because he heard a saying, he's not worth a fart in a tin cup. And so they rolled with that. And some interesting casting kind of deals here. Molly was almost Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oof.
David Sims, Don Johnson, was almost played by Pierce Brosnan.
Yep.
I can also see that.
And I heard that
Would have been tougher to steal Pierce Brosnan's chick.
Yeah, it depends on the website. Brosnan would have been perfect, but it depends on the website that you're looking at. But I also heard
The real
it was
James
supposed to
Bond.
be Tom Selleck as well.
Brosnan, no way he could have pulled off the West Texas accent.
Yeah.
They would have had to change the story a little.
And then Alec Baldwin was in the mix, but Kim Basinger had pregnancy issues a couple weeks before filming, and that's when
He wouldn't stop hitting people with golf balls on the set.
that's when Don Johnson,
I say that.
So Don Johnson actually, I read this too. He turned down Elliot Ness in The Untouchables.
Yeah, that's right.
So little circle of Kevin Costner there. But here's my thing with Tom Selleck. Tom Selleck, I thought Don Johnson's character had to be kind of like a pretty boy.
Yacht
And had
club-ish.
to be kind of all clean cut. And honestly, that character, when you look at him, he was undeniably a wet blanket and tough to like. But was he a bad guy?
No, he was just he was kind of like Macon.
Well, he yells at the
wasn't.
the kid, the grandparents.
He did.
of the
He
kid.
yelled at the kid.
And he
that's
called
where
the
he was
dog fucking ugly.
And by the way, okay, so yeah, he was a bad guy when it came to the fans, and that was
who were played by Costner's parents
and his son.
kid.
Wow,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, the people he yelled at in the airport.
Yeah.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
But Tom Selleck would have been too manly.
Too macho.
He would have been too macho.
Like
because
Don Fry.
Kevin Costner had to maintain, this air of masculinity. That's what drew Rene Russo to him. It's not like Ron Johnson was a beta, but he was this clean cut.
And he lacked
guy.
he lacked mystery. The first time that Don Johnson came and talked to Cheech
Yeah.
outside the trailer, and he was like, "I need your guy. Can we get him straight on the straight and narrow for this tournament?" And they're talking about Costner, and then Costner just appears like some shit, from the shadow realm. That's the mystery we're talking about.
Him and Don Johnson were single, Kevin Costner and him,
Yeah.
at this point. Kevin Costner almost didn't take the role because he was tired from Waterworld. He said we would just tape the longest movie in
That was a
history.
huge
Dude,
production.
It was
what
He'd done
160
160
days.
Yeah.
The
Can we
whole
review
thing.
that next?
Well, I'd love to review
And
it.
by being tired from Waterworld, he means being single and being Kevin Costner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear that.
Where are all the
Yeah,
guild
I
men
kinda
today?
feel like getting out in the, but evidently him and Don Johnson had a
Yeah.
pretty good time filming this movie.
When they got drunk, he called him Ron.
Did I miss the scene where Don is upset that he's lost his girl? We never really address a breakup.
No, it just kind of like happens.
Yeah.
That might be a plot hole there.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah, because it was the Pelican scene, and she just like
was into him.
she just decided.
She took a side.
and then Don was like, "What's going on here?"
He was like, you get one shot at this.
Yeah.
One ball.
Hey, with the Waterworld thing, we had taped a pod like 3 years ago, maybe at this point. Reed will remember this, where we did movies that need to be remade.
Yeah.
Waterworld needs to be
Top
remade.
of the list.
Climate change. all
And
that
don't have
stuff.
it be The Rock. Don't have
No,
it.
like have it be. I forget who he cast, but it was. I
Can we get a Latino guy in
Why?
there?
Why?
Because they're going to throw either a black guy, and it's not going to be a white guy. They're going to put a black guy. I think we need some Latino representation in the
Waterworld?
water, in the
In the
marine,
aquatic-
in the marine realm.
Okay.
Feature's still working.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right, you guys want
Jeez.
to get into some of our favorite scenes?
Yeah. Sure.
All right. I'll go first with just one of mine. I love when Romeo fixes his shanks, where he's like up at the driving range and he's fucking up, and like I don't think Romeo really knows what he's doing.
No.
He's like, put your change in your left pocket.
Well,
Put the tea behind your ear.
it's a perfect sports coaching moment where it's like I don't know what the problem is. My athlete clearly doesn't know what the problem is, so let's change something and change their
thinking.
headspace.
Yeah.
I mean, having the shanks at the driving range is bad enough. Then you throw a gallery of fans in there.
People ever have shanks like that?
Oh yeah,
When he's hitting it straight down the line
Oh,
and hitting
yeah.
people, that was not believable
It
to
happens.
me. The predictability of the advice was too predictable for me. Didn't love that scene, Matt. I know what Cheech was doing, and I didn't believe that the shank, you could actually dribble it down
buddy.
Yeah.
without going forward.
It
They can
happens.
go straight
Let's go
2 feet.
golfing.
Straight down the
Let's go
line.
golfing. I'll shank 3 balls, 4
Okay.
balls.
What did you like?
What did I like? That's a good question.
Did you like any of the nostalgia from the 90s golf tournaments?
What was your favorite scene?
For sure. I really liked
Because that stood out to me. Oversized golf shirts.
here's what I liked. I like
Pace of
Costner.
play here, Patrick Cantlay.
I like Costner appearing at Dr. Molly Griswold's office, and then the patient is sitting in the exit room.
That was the funniest.
Yeah, and then
part of the movie.
after he talks to Dr. Griswold, he walks out and he goes, "You're still in the exit room."
I'm going to qualify for the U.S. Open, and I'm going to kick your boyfriend's ass. Please leave, Roy. And whatever you think of me, you should know that your boyfriend hates old people, children, and dogs. So he opens the door, closes it, comes back in, and that broad is still out there in the exit room. And then the funniest
And she's
line
crying.
is, "You're still in
Yeah.
the exit room,"
Yeah.
and she starts crying again.
Yeah, yeah. That was my
that's the
favorite
fun-
line.
That is so funny.
He said,
dude.
bill me for 30 minutes. I'm not that fucked up.
Yeah, he goes. Yeah, he was like, "Well, I didn't see any magazines or anything like that, so I figured it might not be
There's
the
no
waiting
paint
room."
on the walls.
Yeah, that was a great scene.
That was
I
good
love
stuff.
when he made the analogy of like, oh, it's you have to swim across a river and it's got all this shitty stuff in it, and she's like, you're talking about yourself. Like immediately diagnoses that he's trying to build
But
himself.
she had no idea that he was talking about her.
right.
You know. So
And then he shoots his shot.
yeah, he shoots his shot.
One shot, one ball.
Also, he was kind of handsy with her early in the movie.
Oh yeah,
Like,
Handsy,
I don't
very
know if that
golf
scene
prone.
would be okay today
it wouldn't.
You talking about the range?
at the range.
Well,
I
he
think-
also walked into the strip club and they were like, Roy, where you been? We haven't seen you for 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 days.
Yeah,
Little horny.
yeah, he's horny.
Top
And
horny.
he said
fictional
sex and
athlete.
golf are 2 things you don't have to be good at to enjoy.
That's true.
The plot hole to me was that stripper. You know, Roy was Kevin Costner. I mean, like, you know, when Rene Russo said, "Yeah, he's kind of cute," I was like, "Yeah, well, hold on a minute. That's Kevin Costner." Okay, like I know.
Hold on a
like,
minute, player.
Hold on a minute, player. I know he's Roy in the movie, but he's kind of cute. It's Kevin fucking Costner in
More than
1996. Why was that character dating that stripper?
Salome, Texas, for one.
Yeah.
You know, you can't hit a golf ball for 500 miles.
Yeah.
They remind us about 6 times. respectfully, pre-hair plugs, Kevin Costner.
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
going a little bit.
Yeah. But he made it look cool, though.
Yeah, no,
Seems like
I don't disagree.
alcoholic.
The stripper looked a bit advanced in age.
Yeah. Did you know Tin Cup's a real guy?
Give me the
You probably
rundown.
know all about this, but yeah.
Well, there's a golfer in the Masters a couple years prior who laid up, and that's where they took David Sims.
I know they took. There was a guy that prepped him for the movie that got his
Gary
swing-
McCord.
Gary McCord, and Gary McCord,
Sideline announcer.
was
in the
awesome.
not to be chalky, but to me, the most iconic scene is the give me another ball. That's inspired by Gary McCord,
Right.
who hit like an 8 or a 10 at a tournament in the 80s.
Yep.
Just
It's like John Daly did the same thing.
over and over.
John
again.
Daly did the same thing.
I think
a
he
couple
ran out of
years.
balls.
He did, and so Gary McCord met with the production because they were like, we need a golf kind of coach for Kevin Costner because he hadn't played. He looks like a golfer, but he hasn't played. And Gary McCord got the part in 2 minutes. He was like, "Why do you even take me?" And the guy was like, "Well, you got kicked out of the Masters, so that helps."
Yeah, and Gary also was the inspiration for the Pelican scene.
Yep.
Gary,
hit that before.
there was a bet where Gary hit a pelican or something like that.
And during that scene, which happens to be one of my favorites, Gary McCord is announcing the entire thing from a soda stream, like a soda bubbler.
That's my favorite prop.
And
Is that Gary McCord playing the?
Yeah.
the
Yeah, he's got the mustache. Well,
Yeah.
the cool thing is it's the entire real CBS production crew.
Yes.
The entire real CBS announcers. That's why. It
Well,
seems
Nance
so
looks like a
realistic.
baby.
Nance
But
and
even,
the,
like, the
and the
producers-
guys in the back of the
Nance looks younger than us. I mean,
the guys in the truck are the real guys in the truck.
Yeah.
And
Which is incredible.
And Costner and Don Johnson, they say, went to the University of Houston. Of
Yeah.
course, Nance and Freddie Couples went to Houston. I love the TV director who was just pissed that Roy McAvoy was a storyline.
Bring Shirkinian.
Yeah, they talk about Salome, Texas. He says something like it's never been discovered yet. Fictional place, by the way. Salome does not
Really?
exist.
Huh.
Yeah.
So the
haven't
idea of the
found
whole
it.
movie actually took shape during the final round of the '93 Masters. Chip Beck infamously laid up on
He was
a
three
par
back.
5. He was three back.
Yep.
And
On the 15th.
and evidently it was the closest Beck ever came to winning a major, but in like a non-linear way. This is how they were inspired to do this guy that did the opposite.
Yeah.
So when you ask the question, was it the right ending to the movie to have him just hit the ball into the water 5-6 times? That was the movie. So like there was no what do
They
we do?
foreshadowed it too.
This
like,
was
multiple ways.
how it was going to end the whole time
Yep.
for them.
I think it's less memorable, less good if he just wins the U.S. Open.
Yeah, because
Right.
it's like every other movie.
Yeah.
And this is a movie about sports. It's a movie about like the people that almost made it. It's the people It's a movie about the people that couldn't get out of their own way. Like we played with a bunch of guys like that.
How many guys can we name that were such good athletes, such good players that couldn't get out of their own way?
Yeah, they just had too much, as Rene Russo put it, like bullshit in their head. And like sports is a mental game. It makes you think back to like situations where you could have been better. Because Roy is that guy that like if Roy had exhausted his potential, he could have been great.
Yep.
And the real guy they based it off evidently was loosely Roy McAvoy. I think his name might have been Roy McAvoy.
Well, they based it off of McCord.
Well, I know, but
Or-
there's a real Roy McAvoy, evidently, unless I'm reading an article that was totally made up. Actually died in his Cadillac in a single car accident in the 90s, and he was drunk.
And I'll tell you what he didn't die in, the VW bug that picks up the golf balls at the driving range, which I thought was my favorite prop. If we're going to consider that a prop, I'd love to have that in my
That's a
backfield.
good one. Kyle and Reed, you guys are golfers. Like, were there any golf scenes that stood out to y'all, or any like quotes that are now used on the golf course at all?
I would say his explanation, the poetic explanation of the swing, forced through the ground. He was using all real golf
terms.
jargon,
Yeah.
things that have crossover even in the football world, generating force through the ground, getting your hips around and stuff like that.
Interlock.
That's how I learned to hit a golf ball.
The interlock is what he started the poem with, and then he's like a little nod to the gods. That was
Yeah.
cool. That was something I hadn't heard other than that movie.
And he
But
talks
yeah.
about the finish, describes the finish, and I love a nod to the gods, knowing perfection is unattainable.
Yeah,
And then he finishes it with. There's also a second one a second terminology you can go at: grip it and rip it.
Yep.
I like
The duality of man.
My favorite scene, other than the chalky one, might have been him losing David Sims.
That's a great scene.
Yeah, it was a great scene. I mean,
Brilliant.
like he just turns and hits the ball down the road, and again, it's like Costner. He thinks he's smarter than he is in a way, and
Golf's a mental game.
yeah. And
I hit the 7 like John Daly hits the 3.
Yeah.
And the Cadillac that he lost was my favorite prop of the movie. I want that Cadillac with the exact seats, the whole thing. I might actually get on that this week.
But don't think of it as a means of transportation. Think of it as a trophy, bragging rights.
That was a great line, and it reminds me of the story of our dad with. He had a Cadillac. He had like a red Cadillac.
Yep.
Probably similar in year, but it was in better shape in California. And
Beautiful.
he loved that thing. I mean, it was awesome. And then this guy,
Montana now.
he sold the Cadillac like to some guy he didn't know at the time.
Yep.
Well, fast forward like 20 years later, we're in Montana. We've got a place on Flathead Lake, and he's missed the Cadillac ever since. It's like an inside joke with him and my mom. Like, you never should have let it go. This guy on the lake owns it, like just randomly.
Like a couple doors down.
And we know the guy in the lake,
Yes.
and he'll pull up with that Cadillac just 3 times a week to rub it into my dad.
Yep.
So I think I'm going to get that Cadillac. I honestly, it's one of the coolest cars in a sports movie.
Nice.
That thing's a boat. That's why they called them boats back then.
Yeah.
You could fit a lot of golf clubs in that
No
thing.
question. That's my favorite prop.
Last scene I'll mention: banking the ball off the porta potty.
Oh, classic.
That was great.
I mean,
that scene.
that's so relatable as an athlete where you're like, especially a golfer with your buddies, where they're like, just hit it out there, get it out into the fairway. You know, you have no shot at the green. You know, for him to turn and say $50 says I'll, put it on the green. And McCord is being talked to. He's like, you're talking to me?
Yeah.
Well, because he's reporting from 10 feet away, which is also the intimacy of golf. Like, imagine if the huddle was there and Joe Buck was right outside the huddle.
Yeah, like Rene Russo being like, go for it.
Yeah.
Or him asking advice, and they're like, that's a two-stroke penalty.
It's like you hear
Soliciting
stories about
advice
like
from the
Tiger's
gallery.
mom when he was younger being on the course with him. Like that's an intimate environment for the bet to happen, for McCord to take it, and then for the porta potty shot to happen. That was a stretch.
And it's interesting because there was a issue from the Masters this year when one player was accused of cheating. They said that his caddy held up a 5, saying that he hit a 5, and the other group saw it. But the caddies always flash what number club they hit to the on-course reporter, so the on-course reporter can tell the booth and tell the listeners, oh, he went 5 here. That scene also, my biggest plot hole, because the ball doesn't end up on the green, it ends up on the fringe. But McCord still pays.
That's right.
Ooh,
That's
wow.
right.
Yeah.
I guess
Wow.
he's putting.
All right,
He-
make-
yeah.
I do like the scene though where he's like, you hit the shot, you're fired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where he's the caddy.
And then he didn't think he got fired after he hit it.
I mean, I love that scene.
Well, I'll bring it up now.
He looked genuinely
There's
surprised.
a great moment with that scene because right there is Phil Mickelson
Yep.
gambling on
Yep.
it.
Yep. Young Phil Mickelson.
Who was like fresh out of ASU.
By the
He's in
way,
Happy Gilmore as well.
were those golfers that were walking across the course when he was rolling, and they were like, I can't believe a guy named Tin Cup.
Those are
is
all
gonna-"
real pros. Yeah.
That was,
That
the
was
worst
Corey
line.
Pavin.
Oh,
Pavin has the worst
His-
line in the movie.
You're exactly right. I can't believe his name is going to be beneath mine. It was awful.
It was a bad line.
Yes, it was
I
awful.
paused the thing.
It was so bad. You're right.
Yeah, it was
that
a
was
bad
Corey
line.
Pavin.
One thing that stood out to me was the sports nostalgia. Like, I love golf and all that stuff, but then you see the CBS Sports flags behind the stadium holes with the different color, the yellow color.
Yep.
The throwback stuff. It reminds me of when we used to go to like college game day.
Yep.
When you guys would play like Florida State, they would have their old college game day flags up. You knew the TV trucks were there. Same thing with CBS Sports. Big nostalgia boost there.
I thought Cheech did a great job, Kyle. I thought he
Fabulous.
did a great job, and I thought like the scene where he broke the 2 clubs and then Kevin finished the bag
Great scene.
was a great scene, and his frustration was so like, it was guttural. He was like, Kevin didn't know at the time that he was done for a while, but like the audience, you're like, okay, this is the 1,000th time. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. That I think I read that John Leguizamo was almost Cheech's character.
That would have been a big mistake.
Yeah, Cheech was great.
Cheech is incredible.
He also looks super old, and he's still around. And
he's got like over 200 acting credits. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The scene where he's standing out in the rain so Kevin and Renee can get it on in the Winnebago. Kevin and Renee are missionary style, and then
they flip.
We flip to girl on top, and Renee says, "Tee it up." That was very graphic and suggestive.
That's hot, dude.
I was like, holy
It is hot.
smokes.
She's saying, I'm learning. Look, I'm learning.
Well, another line there is the only two things you can enjoy if you're not good at them is golf and sex. And I don't think that's true. You guys have fun doing this, right?
You saying bad podcast?
Yeah. I have fun doing it.
I don't even know I'm doing a podcast.
I was looking for holes in that line. I mean, like, there's plenty of stuff that I enjoy that
I'm so simple brain. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
There's also a lot of sex and golf metaphors, like putting from the rough.
Yeah.
Ooh, putting from the room.
Yeah.
Catch a fly or lie.
All right, let's go to illegal procedure. Any least necessary scenes or plot lines?
Yeah, I got a plot hole. If this is the section for that. I'm wearing a T-shirt that says Woody's Steakhouse, and the T-shirt says Wally's.
I liked that, though. Like, he doesn't even know.
Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe it's a nod to him just not knowing. And maybe it's not actually a plot hole, but that was all I could find. There were a lot less plot holes in Varsity Blues.
I agree.
I jumping around. I did love in that scene where he says, low percentage shot, well, so am I.
Yeah, no, that was good.
That's one of my favorite lines.
Yeah, it was good. He had a ton of great lines.
Almost fell over.
He's great.
my
I wish
chair.
you would make more sports movies. They should make a senior PGA movie with him. Like Tin Cup 2.
Anything you take out of this movie? Anything that was like not necessary? It's
One
pretty
thing
long.
I didn't appreciate was the massacre of the flies and the gambling on it at the beginning. Where they're by their fly trap, and they're taking bets on how many flies are going to hit a certain amount of time.
I think there's a Mendoza line for animals that you can kill, and I think flies are okay.
And they had racial inclusivity. If you notice, in their little band of brothers at the West Texas driving range, there was a black guy hanging out too.
Hispanic guy, fat white
dude,
guy.
It was great.
Kevin
All
Costner.
represented.
TCU fan, and also Lance Harper's dad is in the movie.
Oh yeah, he
point,
is. You pointed that out.
We were watching Varsity Blues, and we did the recap the other
He
day.
takes
but
the money from Gary McCord.
yeah,
There's also, so when Tin Cup goes to the 7-iron, he's only hitting the 7-iron right, and he's like, I never miss with the 7-iron. And they cut to him hitting a shot out of the woods, out of the sand trap, all over. So he definitely missed with the 7-iron right.
yeah. He
He's
ended up
against
in
a
some
tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good,
tough
Cowboy.
spots.
Yeah.
2 hours, 14 minutes. How could we have gotten it to 155?
I don't think so. I don't think there's any way to get it to 155. I was looking for scenes that I thought were unnecessary.
I'm kind of with you. I bet this guy has
The
an
very
idea.
end, like it could just end with him realizing he threw the open away. I don't need this like
I agree.
catharsis of a sex of like whatever. I'm
Actually, I agree there.
Oh, you don't like on the couch?
good. No, I'm good
Like, hey,
without
he's
it.
got the girl, and he's got a shot at qualifying for whatever. He's qualified for other tournaments.
I wanted
like that,
I
though.
wanted him to break up with her to just show how much of a fucking self-sabotage artist he is. Like, I was kind of almost
Just stick
forgot how it
to
ended.
character. Stick to character.
Single vehicle accident. At the end
Yeah,
of the
right,
film.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
I mean, is he the biggest self-saboteur in movie history? And
Ooh, I don't know. That's a large.
He got the girl. He probably won. I don't know what, $80,000 for
lost $80,000 not
finishing
finishing
seventh?
in the top five. You know, like
Yeah.
like there were real financial
Maybe in
implications of that.
sports movie history.
Yeah, I mean, like.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
not necessarily a plot hole, but I was struggling with the 83 first round, then 62, then 64, then 78. I'm guessing that's never happened. I had wished the
much
first
disparity?
round had been like a
and then be
77.
able to balance out the other scores.
Yeah, an
Yeah.
83
Well, it's
followed
a
by a
movie.
62. It is a movie.
He said, "How'd you shoot an 83?" He said, "I missed a putt on 18 to make 80."
Right, right.
Miss 82.
Yeah.
That was funny.
That was good.
I think there's gonna be a lot of these least
I have
realistic.
one more plot hole.
right,
I have
give
one
it-
more
give it to
plot
us.
hole. When he beat the big jacked buddy who was throwing homophobic racial slurs around with a shovel and a rake and a baseball bat, which leads to my question: could an infield baseball coach who hits fungos go par on a golf course?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think so. Like a really good fungo coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Using a putter once you get to the green, but
Yeah.
using fungo.
I think he could use the fun. I think the best fungo coach in the world could par a hole. With
Like,
the
let's
fungo
see.
on the
Maybe
green.
one of our fans can take a fungo bat out and see how low they can go on a Muni
Yeah,
course.
show us.
I thought all the sound effects from golf shots were very good except for the putts. Every putt sounded like he was on a putt golf course. Didn't love that. And Cowboy, can a 3-wood spin back like that off
No.
a green? I feel like a
No.
3-wood would hit and keep
Yeah.
going.
No.
Unless it's ridiculously, unless like that's the curve of the green, the grain of the green, and it brings it
Gravity.
So
Yeah.
it needs a runway.
No, I had
Yeah,
read
it would,
that's unrealistic.
I forgot one other plot hole. So he gets the U.S. Open. Nobody's ever heard of him. Nobody knows who he is. He's been on SportsCenter like twice. He like threw all of David Sims's clubs out. And made
Yeah,
this
yeah,
huge
yeah,
scene.
yeah, yeah.
And then he also like hit this ball onto the like 240 yards that nobody thought he could hit. So like some people should know who he is.
Yes.
Yeah, probably. But in today's era, he'd be a lot more famous.
Right.
You know?
If you missed Sports Center back in the day.
But Russo was right. Like, nobody's going to remember who came in second in that tournament. Nobody's going to remember who won that tournament. Reed might, but, you know, like, nobody's going to forget that in the long
drive
Well, it
competition.
was like, what were they hitting, an iron?
Yeah, they were just seeing how
But-
far.
All right, let's hit. Anybody got a least realistic sports moment?
Yeah, probably the ball rolling backwards.
Yeah.
The blue-ass pond water, that's a U.S. Open. That thing's going to be looking nice.
Well, also, that wasn't Pinehurst. That wasn't like North Carolina. That was a course in Texas.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which actually was pretty impressive because, you know, like I'm looking at all those pines. Like, first I'm thinking, are they going to Augusta? And then I'm like, yeah, it's got to be North Carolina, but it's not.
Arizona.
Yeah. Is it? I thought it was in Texas.
Right.
There were a
Prescott,
couple. There was one filmed in
Sedona.
Texas, but this one was
The
of course,
major?
in Arizona.
U.S. Open? Okay.
All right,
I think I'll bet you $5, right?
I actually thought it was Texas as well in my reading.
I'll align with Cowboy.
Put me in New Mexico.
All right. You want to throw 5 in the pot?
Is this? Are we talking about the
Going
U.S.
back.
Open specifically?
U.S.
Yeah.
Open.
Fuck, I'm not
That,
sure.
That
but
last
yeah,
hole,
sure.
It's the 13th hole. At
I think it's a
course that
Taos.
I thought it was in Texas.
It's definitely the 13th hole at a golf course. But I'll go zone.
Okay. The fictional U.S. Open in the film, yeah, I'm getting there, is supposedly North Carolina, but was shot at Kingwood's Deerwood course.
In?
Kingwood, Texas.
Shit, Reed.
Yeah, I'll take that.
$10.
Kingwood.
Cash out.
Cash app him.
Cash at me.
Where's Kingwood, Texas?
All right, let's keep it going. So we got best real life
North
athlete.
of Houston.
Best real life athlete, probably
Phil Mickelson.
with the golfers in the movie.
Maybe.
But Kevin Costner's supposedly a really good athlete. And, you know, at his swing, I don't know, like, you guys are the golf
He had a good, and
connoisseurs.
even when he swung the shovel, he looked
Yeah.
like he had a good baseball swing too.
Yeah.
All those pro golfers, they weren't originally going to do it because they were too expensive. And then Gary McCord hosted a dinner with Tin Cup, or like Kevin Costner and Don Johnson and all the golfers and their wives for like camaraderie. And then all the golfers were like, "Oh, this is a sick movie. We'll do it for scale, no problem."
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I
mean,
don't
you
think
can't-
there's much competition in this one.
It was Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin.
I don't know who was a better
It was
athlete.
always Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin.
All right.
Kevin. He's a line drive hitter. Always has been.
Next one's tough because
Crash Davis.
good competition. Who's the best supporting actor in this movie? Best supporting performance.
Ooh.
We could talk through a couple of them. So we got
Obviously,
Don
Cheech.
Johnson, we got Cheech Marin, we got Rene Russo. That'd kind of be like the big three.
I think Rene Russo is extremely supportive in so many ways.
Yeah, I thought she was great. Now, I think Don Johnson was great. I think Don Johnson was perfectly cast. The other names we threw out, there were holes in that casting. I thought he was great. He was a quintessential golf villain. Like, I put him up there.
Shooter
He's not
McGavin.
as iconic as Shooter McGavin, but
He's
he was
up there.
cast just as well.
How about TCU guy?
Dennis
Yeah.
Berkeley.
Relatable.
Yep.
Went to TCU in real life, so
Yep.
he had all the gear. He gets
his buddy?
tired out there.
How many lines did Lou Myers have?
Who's Lou Myers?
Black guy.
Not a lot.
You know?
Yeah. Weirdly, Rene Russo also played like the similar character in Major League, right? Where it's like she's dating Dorn.
That's right.
Like,
Roger
the guy-
Dorn.
Yes. Yes.
Were they
Yeah.
just
She's
like
not dating Dorn. She's You got it.
She's dating, I think, another baseball player, but then what's his name? Sniper guy comes back, and they had a history. And
Behringer.
Get back together. Yeah. Tom Behringer.
Jake.
There were just like 6 actors in the mid 90s, huh?
Right.
Well, I mean, there's 6 actors in this movie. Like the casting goes like 2 rows deep before you get to like
Jim Nance.
extras. Yeah, Jim Nance. Jim Nance is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 14 on this list of cast members in Tin Cup.
It's Don Johnson for me in A Runaway, even though I really like what
I got to give a big shout out to whoever was in charge of wardrobe in this movie. I know we mentioned Costner's wardrobe a lot, but Rene Russo had some ahead of her time golf fits. Not a bunch of branding on her shirts and hats, like really
Kept it clean with the, she had the wide brim hat and just a white T-shirt.
And her swing wasn't that bad when she was like swinging and missing on purpose for the movie. Like her swing's not that bad.
Best outfit is Kevin Costner. All his outfits. The outfit that he's walking to the strip club in, I'm gonna.
His on-course outfit. He had the Canton Hall of Fame jacket, pants, and the black shirt. Mm-hmm. And it reminds me a lot of Phil Mickelson's fits.
Yep. Hey, one thing going back to opening scenes, was this my Apple TV fucking up, or did they shoot that opening scene in like old film?
It seemed like it had some type of filter. It probably wasn't old film, but it was like made to look like it was old film.
Yeah. I was like, damn,
Like an old Western tombstone
1996 that old?
Like if you've ever seen the movie Traffic, how they put like filters over it to have different colors. It's kind of like that to represent a different area.
It was intentional, whatever.
So you guys kind of started on best and worst dress. Any other nominations in there for the Drip Award?
No, just Kevin Costner.
When Costner's wearing that swing aid glasses.
Yeah, that scene's great too.
Like it's such your quintessential golfer trying to get better and will do anything, crazy things to get better.
All right, best prop.
Best prop was McCord's drink dispenser.
Yep, the drink dispenser was on the list. The VW bug that picks up golf balls. That's on
the RV.
Yeah,
Kevin Costner in this movie is my kind of guy for a couple reasons. Well, it may not be much of a river to you, but to me, it's the Mississippi, the Danube, the Amazon. Hell, I brought you to a river. That's a nature kind of thing, isn't it? He also likes the Waffle House. He's got an RV. I love the fact that he keeps his golf balls. Like when you go to a hotel and you take the soap, which I'm sure you do.
I don't really leave home.
You don't leave home,
especially when he's losing. They steal everything.
And I thought he was our kind of guy. He would fit in well here.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I'd take the 7-iron, the one he didn't break.
Yeah. I'd take the chili dipped wedge that was in 2 pieces.
The best prop, and I know this is true about the golf course, but it's the 13th hole. They had to build the lake. I think the lake's the best prop.
They call it Tin Cup Lake.
Yeah.
How about the driving range, dude? I mean, some of those numerical placards that are out there, have one of those up on the wall.
Nice. All right. Well, one of the strengths of the movie, I thought, was the use of music. Really set the scene, like West Texas. Was there a song that stood out to you guys?
Well, can I say Kevin Costner's sausage might be a prop? I mean, he's always got that one piece of sausage in his mouth. He's never eating the sausage. He's rizzing up Rene Russo, smelling like Jimmy Dean.
Yep.
You know?
Do you think he goes with a honey syrup and honey on that sausage?
No,
or
I
is
think
it
it's just raw, dude.
Just all natural
packaging.
When everything turns for Costner with his gal, when he takes her to the river, we hear "Let Me Into Your Heart" by Mary Chapin Carpenter. That's my favorite song from the film.
When he finally hits the 7-iron and the fiddle starts playing, that's a good one. I don't even know the name of the song.
I got 2 nominations.
I got my juices
That's
flowing.
Character Flaw by Joe Ely.
I got my
So it
juices
starts off
flowing.
yeah, it's great.
The opening credits song is "Little Bit Is Better Than Nada" by Doug Somm, which I really enjoyed.
Yep.
And then they played a couple different times, but there's "Crapped Out Again" by Keb Mo. That kind of like bluesy song.
I thought it was "Let Me
doubled
Love
up.
You" by John Lee Hooker, but it was that. Maybe we're talking about the same song. I like that too.
Nice. Let's make that layup line today.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. How about a Bevel Conway Award? What was the most beautiful scene in the movie?
The Bevel Conway Award was when they had the CBS production team doing it, when they had the old school CBS Sports flag. It just felt, it was a nostalgia bomb.
I agree. That course looked great. What, obviously not in North Carolina. and the atmosphere
Kingswood.
of that final scene I thought was great. And we didn't really watch a lot of like match play during the movie until the end. I mean, like we watched him play a little bit.
Yep.
But it was like cool. They drew it out. It was like a long scene, and it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. It looked like the real thing, right down to the golfers.
Yeah, they did a great job with the athletes in the movie.
Yeah.
I think you'd be hard pressed to come up with a non-Bevel Conway. Love the driving range scenes. Love the Winnebago when everybody's packed in, all his people. After the Waffle House, another great looking scene.
How fun does it look to be a pro golfer? Like night one, you get shit faced. I mean, he had 3 hours to get sober. He obviously wasn't sober. I could feel that scene. Like, you know, when you can feel.
It was a Varsity Blues scene.
Yeah,
Speaking of
hangover.
best music, then Romeo plays that little Mexican song for him right there after he passes out.
Yep, that's a good one. I mean, and then night 2, you have sex with Rene Russo. Night 3, you go to the Waffle House with all your buddies and have a sleepover.
Yeah.
And like you're playing in the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
It's like being a golfer must be cool. If that's what it's like, it's a pretty good itinerary.
It'd be pretty amazing just to be that good at something.
Yeah. Well, I don't. The sex with Rene Russo, whoever it is,
Yeah.
you know, you get some nookie in the Winnebago.
I think that leads us right into smoke show of the movie.
Oh, I got to go back to
got
the
a
cast. and see if
Besides
there's
Kevin Costner, the obvious pick for me is Rene Russo.
I'd agree
Besides
with you,
Kevin
Kyle.
Costner.
I mean, she was devious.
All right, any golden goosebump moments?
Yeah, give me another ball. I mean, like, there's something about.
When he snaps at the caddy without looking at him and he goes like this and he's looking at where he's going to hit it,
Yeah.
I'm like, fucking relatable.
I've never been as good at anything as Tin Cup is at golf, but I can definitely identify with being a self-saboteur. So and like just doing it your way.
Confident in your craft.
So maybe not confident in your craft, but like this is the way I'm gonna live my life.
Got it.
And that scene for me was goosebumps.
Stuck in your ways.
Yeah, I mean, like some people might not like living that way. Some people might not, you know. Mamas don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. That's a song about Roy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he does things his fucking way. You might not understand him, but he'll die young. 1992, one car accident, Cadillac.
All right, where are they
Ran out of
now?
oxygen.
Sandlot exercise. If these characters are still alive in 2023, where would they be?
Well, Roy's dead.
Well, I'd say if Roy didn't die, he would still be in West Texas at the driving range, enjoying life. Maybe
That's how the movie was supposed to end too.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
mean-
that's probably the most realistic ending was him not going on tour.
you know the monster goes back to his cave eventually and lurks.
I think he's got like a failed top golf rival that's secretly controlled by the Texas mob or something like that.
Yeah, he gets a little.
Gotten
You
dead.
mean the Narcos?
So they should do a Tin Cup 2.
Yeah,
Honestly, Tin Cup 2 would be pretty good. Like just
I'd watch it.
You know, Roy older, fucking some new
Still got it, though.
challenge.
Maybe don't mess with it.
Huh?
It was good. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Don't fuck
Don't
with
mess
it.
with it. Yeah.
No, that'd
They-
be cool with like modern golfers doing their cameos as well. It'd be fun.
Yeah. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's trying to get on the senior tour.
They did a Caddyshack.
They could really
too.
just lampoon it. You know,
You know,
what I
like
mean?
grumpier old men.
Yeah.
They're just a little older.
They also did a Godfather too, Macon.
Speaking of grumpy old men, shout out to Scott.
Yeah. That's good.
How about David Sims? What's he doing now?
David Sims.
He's avoiding watching 50 Shades of Grey.
He's
So I just found out that his daughter, David Sims' daughter, Don Johnson's daughter, is the gal from 50 Shades of Grey, which I didn't read or watch,
Really?
but I know that there's a lot of sexy time. It would be like a Sydney Sweeney type situation. My parents had to shut it off.
So I think Don Johnson's on his like 5th iteration of that blonde walking out of the gallery.
And he's probably Nance's
Do you think he stepped up every
partner
time?
in the booth. You know, just had
Yeah.
a really good career, and
Yeah.
now he's cashing checks.
I got Republican senator.
Republican senator.
Ah,
Seems
could
evil.
see that.
Doesn't care about people.
But again,
Smiles
seems
to the
evil. Yeah, I
cameras.
mean like the fans, but yeah. Yeah.
I would put the Republican senator as the guy that Tin Cup beat with the garden tools, who said, "I'm gonna report you to the
yeah, that
INS."
guy. That guy's a problem.
Cheech,
Dead.
dead.
Yeah, or 30 years.
Yeah, we're
past
30
now.
years past. Yeah, this is an easy exercise. some of the members of this cast.
All right, let's give our closing thoughts. Any recasting? If we did this in 2023, who would you like to see in these roles?
Recasting is easy for me. For Romeo, I'd go with Michael Pena.
Mm-hmm.
Can we pull up a Michael Pena picture so we can all be convinced here? For Roy, if we're going to go real golfer, somebody with a real swing and that kind of demeanor, I'm going to say Brooks Koepka. Rene,
Probably
Brooks
a
Koepka's
terrible
not
actor.
cool enough
he could pull it off.
to be Roy, dude. Wait, he could pull it off?
Paige Spiranek.
I want to nail you down on this.
Paige Spiranek.
Brooks Koepka couldn't act half as cool as Roy McAvoy.
I think that's part of the deal. That's part of the allure with Brooks Koepka. It'd be so dry the whole time.
So far, this is terrible.
Tommy
I think it's
Fleetwood.
good.
Tommy Fleetwood.
Paige Spiranek for Renee.
Okay,
But she can play golf.
But that's like I just said that Renee's swing wasn't that bad,
Okay.
and she could play that I don't know how to play golf thing. If she's
Yeah.
an actress. David Sims would be either Bradley Cooper or
That's
or
my David Sims.
Tom Wamsgans.
Nice. Matthew
Yeah, I got-
McFadden.
I got Anders Holm for David Sims.
Anders
interesting.
Holm.
I could see him being the like really annoying golf
Dickhead.
dude.
Anders.
Or it
Take
would
the
be
opportunity to
Anders.
correct everybody when somebody
it would be the guy who played the Russian pitcher from
Ike
Ike
Barinholtz.
Ike Barinholtz.
Yeah.
I'll join you, Bradley Cooper, for David Sims.
He would be great.
I've got, for Romeo, I've got Kieran Culkin. Okay. I have Anne
You talking about
Hathaway
Roman?
in the Rene Russo role. And Dave Chappelle as
Dave
Roy
Chappelle.
McAvoy.
Okay, that's good.
I love
Like a lot of charisma.
yeah.
Just fuck it. I'm going to go for it.
You think Dave Chappelle could swing a golf club?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I see. I just can't picture it in my mind's
Robert
eye.
De Niro. Roy.
Al Pacino, she'll still shoot.
Yeah, they do The Irishman with Robert De Niro. I don't have anybody.
Scorsese directing. Give Me
Yeah.
Shelter comes on.
I don't have anybody.
All good. Any closing thoughts? I thought that was fun. I really enjoyed watching that movie again. I hadn't seen it.
I
in
want to
a
go
couple
play
years.
golf now because
I
of
thought
this
it was
movie.
a really good movie. I thought it's everything that like it's hard to pull off a rom-com that guys like.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a rom-com. Okay? Like, and it's everything Summer Catch could have been. You know?
Man, Summer Catch
Summer
did
Catch-
it for me when she was mowing the lawn.
Yeah, well, Jessica
Worth-
Biel's
that was
still on
worth
IR from carrying
the
that
movie. Worth the whole deal.
Yeah. Oh, it's about
I
baseball?
met Justin Timberlake, correct?
I didn't see
Justin
the
Timberlake
baseball
is
scenes.
married to her.
Yes.
I met Justin Timberlake and I just stared him down and I was like, you bastard.
How did you do it?
Well, I know how he did it.
Yeah.
The Riz God, the original
Yeah.
Riz God.
All right. Take it easy, y'all.